During that time of the mediumship and psychic development, between 21 and 22, I also started going to a technical college, and I was studying an electronic technician course. And in the second year of it, this state I was already starting to enter because of the car accident and also the meditations at home. I would be in the class, and what was happening was that I was going into a state of what's referred to in the Eastern mystical teachings, the state of no mind. I was going into a state of no mind in the middle of a class. So I'd be listening to the teacher speak, and all of a sudden I'm hearing the sounds of his or her words. I can hear them rolling out of his mouth, and all I could hear was the sound of the words, but not one word made a sense. All I was, and then all of a sudden I could feel this spaciousness inside, like an emptiness inside of me, being consciousness, and I was in a state of no mind. I didn't know how to describe it at the time, but I knew that it was very significant. So I would start laughing in the middle of it, uncontrollably, because the laughter would come by itself, and I'd have to excuse myself many times and then run to the bathroom to contain myself. Come back in, sit down, same thing would happen again, run out again. Then I'd ask my buddy, what is the teacher talking about? I'd look down at him, he's trying to tell me, and all of a sudden I'm hearing just the sound of his voice. I'm in a state of no mind. So out of that, after 2 weeks or so of that happening, I came home and I said to Mum and Dad, I have to quit. I can't continue. I'm going to live a spiritual life. So that's when I started to research meditation deeper and researching this whole phenomena of no mind and also Eastern mystical teachings. And I knew that I had to find a mentor, a spiritual mentor. And so that's what I went looking for. And I found a number of mentors over the years, but there was one or two that were significant. One of them was from India, which I don't want to mention right now. He's passed away some time ago. There was also another one in the Fijian Islands who's passed away. And then many years later, I came across one in Australia, which I had no idea that there would be even a spiritual teacher in such a country as Australia, right?
Yeah, which is where you're at right now, Australia.
That's right. And this particular spiritual teacher, even the Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the book The Power of Now, has also acknowledged this mentor that I sat with, because Eckhart Tolle also used to sit with this particular mentor also in Australia. And so through this one specific Indian teacher, through the first 2 or 3 years of being with him, he was very professed, so to speak, with knowing how to awaken the latent energies in the body in order to open up what is referred to the higher chakras, the higher intelligence centers, the high intelligence center of the brain as well, the pineal gland, the pituitary, through awakening what is referred to as the Kundalini. And I think within the first 1 year of being involved with him, well, lo and behold, I had a major awakening of that in my body. And when it did erupt, so to speak, it was like a volcano going off. And it was so tangible, it literally shook me to my roots and blew my mind once again. The reality of it, the experience of that level of electromagnetic energy moving through the body and what it awakened for something else again was phenomenal. And the very first experience was I went into fits of laughter and then crying and then laughter and crying all in the one sitting, and then eventually laughing and crying at the exact same time. And it was pure bliss once again, but a different quality of bliss, because now it was physical also. tremendous, what I would refer to as physical ecstasy in a true sense. And it was beyond anything I have experienced once again. Rather than it just being that bliss or that quality of that tremendous fineness of illumination through the body, it was now tangible through the body, coming from the roots up. It was like there was something else entering my system. From that point, there was like another level of initiation that took place, which was connected right back to that great longing that I had, that was left somehow hovering still from that time of being rejected by my very first love. So you're seeing the picture here. Yeah. That very first love left that rejection there left a very deep, somehow my energy in a standstill on some level, and it left this deep wound around the ecstasy of love on a physical level and on a spiritual level, because that's what I started to experience with her. But now, all these years later, here I am with my spiritual mentor, where there's an awakening of the Kundalini, but then that Kundalini awakening is also then activating what I refer to as being graced by divine love. And in that moment, when I started to experience the grace of divine love, wow, that's what my soul was longing for. That's what I was wanting to share with my very first beloved, that I couldn't go any further with. That is what my soul recognized every human being's heart is longing for, to receive the grace of divine love. And it was so tangible, it just brought me to the sweetness, tremendous sweetness of crying. And I don't mean crying out of pain. It was a crying out of almost like disbelief, the crying out of gratitude, the crying out of, oh my God, oh my beloved is everywhere around me. And now the beloved mystery is gracing me and saying, you're okay. You're okay, beloved. You are loved as you are. You are loved as you are. And in that recognition that I'm being loved as I am, and feeling it, not being told it, but feeling it, that was the beginning of what I refer to as empowerment, true heart empowerment, in order to be very focused now with my vision of being able to dedicate my life to helping others to awaken to, or to at least come to find the courage to come into this delicate space, to open up their soul and their hearts to that degree of sensitivity, regardless of their previous maybe wounding or dislocation or sense of lack of worth. I knew that that's what I needed to do. How do I nurture another human being? How do I invite them into this very delicate space? So that was like the cherry on top of the cake.